Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with our another deck tech. So today we are going to be talking about the brand new Gruul Dinosaurs in Pioneer. So we've had a few upgrades from March of the Machine, as well as a couple different deck building choices and such from our last video, which that was quite a while ago now. So now we got some nice upgrades in like land base overall, creatures, and everything like that. So we're going to hop right into it here. So first we're going to start off with our 1-drops, which we have 4 Llanowar Elves, 2 Elvish Mystics, and 4 Commune with Dinosaurs. So the Llanowar Elves and the Elvish Mystics are pretty standard, you know, they're 1/1s for 1, they tap for a green. But the Commune with Dinosaurs is 1 green sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a dinosaur or land card from among them and put it into your hand. So just a really great card in general, helps us hit our land drops, helps us hit everything on curve, essentially. Try and hit those turn 2 Marauding Raptors, turn 3 4-drop Dinosaurs, which we'll get to those in just a minute. Overall, it just helps flesh out our draws. For those who've been playing Modern for a long time, it's kind of like an Ancient Stirrings, which Ancient Stirrings is a very powerful card, and essentially this deck gets an Ancient Stirring. So just great card overall to be playing. Next, we have 4 Marauding Raptors, 4 Ripjaw Raptors, and 4 Rampaging Raptors, a new one from March of the Machines. So, Marauding Raptor is a 2/3 for 1 and a red dinosaur. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Marauding Raptor deals 2 damage to it. If a dinosaur is dealt damage this way, Marauding Raptor gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So, Marauding Raptor is secretly the best card in our deck overall. We want to play this turn 2 pretty much every game we get the opportunity to. It's just that good. It helps pump out our other dinosaurs. Pairs really nicely with Ripjaw Raptor, who's a 4/5 for 4 dinosaur with Enrage. Whenever Ripjaw Raptor is dealt damage, draw a card. So if we play a turn 2 Marauding Raptor and then turn 3 Ripjaw Raptor, that means that we get to draw a card and we get to attack for 4 with our Marauding Raptor because it gets +2/+0 since it was a dinosaur dealt damage. Those two make an amazing combination, little 1-2 punch there. That's why we're playing 4 Ripjaw Raptors. And we're playing 4 Rampaging Raptors, the new guy from March of the Machines. 4/4 for 4 with Trample and Haste. We can tap 2 and a red. Rampaging Raptor gets +2/+0 until end of turn. When Rampaging Raptor deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls or battle that player protects. Spoiler alert, we are playing a couple battles in this deck to take advantage of that trigger, but essentially it's like a red questing beast, but luckily for us, it's a dinosaur, so which is awesome for the deck. You know, the hasty threat is nice. You know, if in Magical Christmas Land, if we get to play, which actually is not even that unrealistic, if we play a turn 2 Marauding Raptor, we can play turn 3 Rampaging Raptor, get in for 8 damage, which is just awesome. So yes, this is easily the core of the deck right here. Overall, that's why we're playing 4 of each of them. So finishing out our dinosaur curve, we're playing 4 Regisaur Alpha and 1 Ghalta Primal Hunger. So Regisaur Alpha is a 4/4 for 3 red-green dinosaur. Other dinosaurs you control have haste. When it enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. So what's really great about this, we're getting 7/7 for 5 mana, which is a really great rate. Works extremely well with Marauding Raptor, because, you know, that counts as 2 dinosaurs coming into play, getting 2 more triggers, and it gives haste, so when we start slamming down other dinosaurs late game, they're also going to get haste. And one of the late game dinosaurs we can play is Ghalta Primal Hunger. So Ghalta's 10 mana, well, it's 10 generic green for a 12/12 legendary creature Elder Dinosaur. Ghalta costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and has trample. So Ghalta is just an insane card in general. We're only playing 1, mostly because of how the Pioneer metagame currently is. There's a lot of mid-range and such, and Ghalta tends to struggle against mid-range and control decks. It's fantastic in the aggro matchup, but we're already really, really good in the aggro matchup in general, so that's why we're just playing 1 Ghalta. In the games I've played, honestly, having the 1 is still fine. You know, we're playing Invasion of Ixalan and, which, spoiler alert, that's the battle we're playing, and we're playing Commune with Dinosaurs, so we're able to dig for our permanents that we want a lot easier. Therefore, you know, like the 1 Ghalta is perfectly fine. And we're playing 2 Domri Anarcha Bolas. It is not, obviously, a dinosaur, but it's still that good. 3 Loyalty, red-green 1, Legendary Planeswalker Domri. Creatures you control get +1/+0. We can add a loyalty to add red or green mana. Creature spells you cast this turn can't be countered. And -2, target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. It's just a really good fight. Works really well with Ripjaw Raptor, so we can draw cards. Great against the control deck, so our creatures can't be countered. Just a great card in general. That's why we're playing 2 of them. So, you talked about all of our dinosaurs, let's talk about all of our non-dinosaurs. So, the first one right off the bat, spoiler alert, which we talked about earlier, was Invasion of Ixalan, one of the new cards from March of the Machines. So, it's green and 1 has 4 damage counters. It's a battle. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And it has 4 damage counters. So if you're able to deal 4 damage to this, it turns into Belligerent Regisaur. It's a 4/3 trampler. Whenever you cast a spell, Belligerent Regisaur gains indestructible until end of turn. Very good effect. It's a pretty solid body that it transforms into. What's really, really great about this, with the 4 damage counter specifically, is if Rampaging Raptor goes unblocked, Rampaging Raptor can single-handedly transform the Invasion of Ixalan without even having to attack the battle. Like, if this is Magical Christmas Land, and we go Elf on 1, Invasion of Ixalan on 2, and Rampaging Raptor on 3, realistically, if they don't block it or remove it, we're able to transform our Invasion of Ixalan right away, which is just a really, really good 1-2 punch. What's also really nice is Belligerent Regisaur works extremely well with one of our removal spells that we're going to talk about in a minute, with the Indestructible. It's a big, big pain against like mid-range and control decks if we can keep up like a Stomp, or if we can keep up a Reckless Rage. Spoiler alert, that's the one. If we keep up anything like that, Belligerent Regisaur is going to be incredibly hard to answer overall. So, I'm really excited to be playing this card. Alrighty, so our removal package here, we are playing 2 Bonecrusher Giants, 3 Reckless Rage here. So Bonecrusher Giant, I feel like I talk about this card in about every single video. We have the Stomp side, which is red and 1 instant. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. And the flip side is a 4/3 for 3. When it becomes the target of a spell, Bonecrusher Giant deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. It is not a dinosaur, but man, it is just that good. Plus, it allows us to only play for 2 mana if we have Marauding Raptor in play, and it survives the enter the battlefield ability, which is really, really good. And we're playing 3 Reckless Rage. 1 red instant deals 4 damage to target creature you don't control, and 2 damage to target creature you control. So this is good with 2 of our cards. So it's really, really good with oh my gosh, sorry, Ripjaw Raptor. It's really good with Ripjaw Raptor because it kills their creature, deals a little bit of damage to the Ripjaw, and lets us draw a card. It's also really good with the Belligerent Regisaur, the flip side of Invasion of Ixalan, because we have Indestructible, so it doesn't matter how much damage it takes. So, yes, just a great card in general. Being able to deal 4 damage instead of opposed to like 3 or even 2 is very huge sometimes. We're able to pick off creatures that our opponent didn't even think we'd be able to pick off for 1 mana. We're able to take out some Old Growth Trolls. We're able to take out like some Steel Leaf Champions. We're able to take out just like Kalitas if it doesn't have any more counters on it. We're able to just pick off some really, really big creatures in general. And then we're playing 1 Embercleave. This isn't creature removal, it's more of player removal, I suppose. So 4 red flash legendary equipment. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. And then equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. And with equip 3. So just a great card in general. Sometimes it has that surprise factor, the little 1-2 punch. Get in with a couple of, Ripjaws or some bigger creatures, and then we Embercleave and kapow, and then get them out of the game. So just a great card in general. We're just playing 1 though. So, alright. We're going to hop into our lands here. Lands are pretty simple overall for the most part. We're playing 4 Stomping Ground, staple red-green land, 4 Cragcrumb Pathway. For those who don't know this card, you could play it on the front side or the back side. The back side is a green. It's an untapped green mana. Obviously, you get to decide what side you want to play it on. And we're playing 4 Carplusian Forests, which I believe the last time we built our dinosaur deck, we didn't have access to Carplusian Forest. So very, very good addition. Overall, it's untapped red or green mana. Then we're playing 3 Copperline Gorges, 2 Lair of the Hydras, and 1 Beseiju. I'm not going to go super into detail since I feel like I talk about these every single deck I do, but obviously if you want to go and read them, you can just pause the video real quick, go ahead and read through them, just staple green lands. And then we have 2 Forests, 2 mountains, and 1 Shadow Skull Smashing. So the Shadow Skull Smashing is red, red, X. Deals X damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. If X are 6 or more, it deals twice X damage divided as you choose among them. And the flip side is a land. We can have it untapped if we pay 3 life. So yeah, pretty simple overall. Overall. And by the way, for those who would like to build this deck, the forest there is actually the official Dinosaur Jumpstart Forest. Those are the ones I personally like to play in my deck because it's a dinosaur land. Why wouldn't we, obviously? So, all right, so that is our lands here. So now we're going to talk about our sideboard. So we're playing 2 Tormod's Crypts, 0 mana artifact. We can tap and sacrifice it to exile target player's graveyard. 1 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 mana artifact. Creatures cards can't enter the battlefield from graveyards or libraries. Players can't cast cards in graveyards or libraries. So it's really good against a number of different decks in the format, like against Arclight Phoenix is really good. It also helps against Atraxa, because Atraxa can't come into play off of the Neil form. There's just a lot of good utility with Grafdigger's Cage. And we have 2 Damping Spheres. Artifact, it's 2 mana. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces a colorless instead. Each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that players cast this turn. So just a great card in general. Stops Nykthos and Lotus combo. It's also really good against like Arclight Phoenix, that kind of thing. Just a really great utility card in general. Then we're playing 2 Cindervines, 1 Heroic Intervention, and 2 Rebel Salvo. So Cindervines, red, green, enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, Cindervines deals 1 damage to that player. Then we can tap 1, sacrifice Cindervines, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Cindervines deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. We're playing 1 Heroic Intervention. Green and 1 instant. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. This may be a commander all-star, but this is very good against blue-white control, which, let's be honest, was the original intention of this card. Just really good against blue-white control. For those who didn't watch my one video with the podcast, I talked about how this card single-handedly saved me against blue-white control at the last RCQ I attended. This card's just really, really good. You can make the argument to bring it in against Rakdos, but I personally, it's mostly just against like blue-white and Esper control. And then we're playing 2 Rebel Salvo, 2 and a red instant, affinity for equipment. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each equipment you control, so if we do happen to have an Embercleave in play, it's going to cost 1 less mana. Rebel Salvo deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. Pretty much one reason we're playing this, and that is Shieldred. Pretty much just Shieldred is the reason we're playing this card. It also does double dip against like other monster decks, other creature decks. Realistically, we could bring it in. You know, I bring it in against mono white humans to take out like Adeline and stuff like that. So just a great card in general to be playing. But the main reason is specifically to deal with Atraxa, pretty much. So, all right, well, that is our deck. Oh, it's not the deck. I was thinking that was the end for some reason. Jesus. All right. Well, excited. We got some of the cool cards actually in the sideboard. So we're playing 2 Klothys, 1 Rampaging Ferocidon, and 2 Shifting Ceratops. So Klothys is a 4/5 for 1 green red with indestructible. As long as your devotion to red and green is less than 7, Klothys isn't a creature. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard. If it's a land card, we add red or green. Otherwise, you gain 2 life, and Klothys deals 2 damage to each opponent. This card is probably our best card in our sideboard. We bring it in against mid-range, we bring it in against hyper aggro, and we bring it in against control. Pretty much the only things we don't want it in against is like mono green. We don't want it against like Lotus combo. That's probably about it for the most part, though. Klothys is just incredible, incredible card. It's our single best card against Rakdos midrange. I would say the games that I've played it on turn 2 or 3, I've probably won about 80% of those games at least. Klothys is just incredible. We have 1 Rampaging Ferocidon, 3/3 for 2 and a red, Dinosaur with Menace. Players can't gain life. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, Rampaging Ferocidon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. Great against life gain. Decks that go really, really wide. If we're on the play and we're like ahead and we play a Ferocidon against like a regular aggro deck, there's a good chance we're going to win. If we're behind, it's kind of awkward because we're trying to go wide and we're taking damage from our own Ferocidon, which definitely can be awkward, but still it's a very, very good card. It's mostly against like the angel decks. Secretly is pretty good against the Atraxa decks because we're able to race them a little bit easier because we don't have to worry about the life gain. So just a great card in general. And then we're playing 2 Shifting Ceratops. This card was a staple in the main deck for a long time, but now Rampaging Raptor kind of kicked it out a little bit, but it's still very good in the list. So it's a 5/4 for 2 green. This spell can't be countered, protection from blue, and then we can tap a green and give it reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. So this card is actually pretty good in a couple different matchups. Blue-white control definitely struggles with it. They essentially need Fateful Absence or like Farewell or a board wipe to take care of it. So it's really good to get around, getting around like Teferi, and it's really good against the shark tokens, that kind of thing. This card is a bullet against Mono Blue Spirits. Mono Blue Spirits, I don't even think they have a single card that can beat Shifting Ceratops. I mean, it's pro blue and it can't be countered. Their deck cannot do anything against Shifting Ceratops. It's the single best card against them. Also found this out from testing the other day. This card is secretly kind of funny against Atraxa. So the new Atraxa that they're reanimating, well, they're getting with Neoform, is blue. So Shifting Ceratops essentially holds down the fort for a bit. You have to kind of, you have to try not to let them trigger the revolt with the Fatal Push. But Shifting Ceratops actually is very good in that matchup, which is kind of funny. Accidentally figured that out the other day. But yeah, so that I think is actually our entire deck. Yes, it is. So all right, I'd like to thank everybody for watching our deck tech here of the new Gruul Dinosaurs with upgrades from March of the Machine. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed or anything, feel free to go ahead and subscribe for more fun deck techs, things of that nature. And let me know in the comment section below, what did you think of the list? Do you like the list? Do you hate the list? Just let me know below and I will most likely respond to you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. I'll catch you in the next episode.